All right, good morning, everyone. This is Charles with the Exodus Logistics Learning Centers. I'm doing a one-on-one Zoom consultation with Miss Ramsey, answering some questions for her as part of the services that we provide here at Exodus, dispatching one-on-one training for beginners. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, the welcome to the Dispatcher 101.
Right, so let me, so any phone services, so I'm assuming right now you're using your, just your main line right now, right?
Yes.
So you can do like Ring Central, get a business phone line for 12 bucks a month, free 30-day trial. You can start that. Ring Central, this is 8x8, but there's one called, the main one is called Ring Central. That's more corporate. Let's look at that one. This is their official site, Ring Central. I would get with them and see what type of services that they offer. You can view a demo, you can request to speak to someone, just to kind of iron out what your requirements are that you're asking for, and then see if they match those requirements.
Okay.
So yeah, with that, and then with an email, I'm assuming you got like a Yahoo or a Gmail account right now that you're utilizing.
I have a Gmail right now and an AOL.
Okay, so if you do you now have, or do you plan on having a website?
Yes, I plan on having one. I don't have one now.
Okay, so when you purchase the website and you actually purchase a domain name that no one else has, in some of the services within that, you can have webmail. You can do a business webmail line. Like I got one with mine. I got my info at exodusdispatchingandtraining.com. So whatever your domain name is, you can have it at either at admin, at whatever it is, or info, sales, whatever you want to call it, at whatever your domain name.com.
Okay.
And so you can kind of sync your emails into your website as several services under one package. So you would have to decide to which site that you want to go with, like Wix, GoDaddy. I use Wix personally, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to. I'm just saying I'm comfortable with Wix. Matter of fact, I have an 11 o'clock meeting with them after you, because we're constantly adding and developing and automating my processes.
So once I get my website, and then I can put my email within that the website, my email.
Correct. It's called a webmail. Yep.
Webmail. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So but you don't necessarily have to wait till you get those things in order to start dispatching. I was like, when I first started, like 4 or 5 years ago, when I was dispatching with my cell number and my Yahoo or Gmail account, because the carriers, they don't care who they send it to, as long as they send it to someone. Like they're returning me the dispatcher agreement and the profile and copies of their other documents, right? The things that they need. So they didn't care. I mean, look, it may look more professional, of course, but you're in business with carriers. They're not going to look at your front end company and say, "Oh man, just because you don't have a business email, I'm not going to work with you." No, if I was a carrier, and I used to be, when I was a carrier, I can care less about that. As long as you find me loads, that's what I'm concerned about, and make money, get my bottom line up.
Okay, because that's what I'm having. Like I got to get the confidence of getting on to do these carriers, to call these carriers to dispatch. So right now I have a cargo van that my son is going to be driving. So we just, trying to get the insurance for that right now, but I still want to dispatch. So I wanted to also know if I can do I've been through the classes to hear some of your mock callings, but I haven't had the nerve to do it in front of the classes. So I wanted to know if you can probably help me with that today.
Yeah, you call me right now. You call.
Okay, so Like, I don't, all right, so, all right, I'm calling ring. Okay,
ABC Trucking, how can I help you?
okay, hello, my name is Andrea Ramsey. I am from, Truck Dispatching Utopia. And, I would like to, if I can, I would like to know if you are under load or you, are looking for a load.
I'm looking for a load right now. I'm empty right now. I'm over here in Norfolk, Virginia. What do you got? Are you a broker?
No, I'm not a broker. I am a dispatcher with a dispatching company.
Okay. So,
Mhm.
so how can you help me?
So I would like to know, well, okay, you're looking for a load. So how much do you need to move your truck? Like what cents per mile?
I could do it. Let's see. I have I'll say about 250.
2.50, okay, percent. Okay, so this is where I get stuck.
Okay, so you're saying a lot of ums, so you have to, so that tells me that you haven't been practicing a lot. It doesn't say that you're wrong, you just haven't been practicing a lot. And then you said 2.50%. It's not percent, it's actually $2.50.
Okay.
So the percent is going to come from your side, what you're charging for your service, right? Either a flat rate or a percentage. So that's where that comes from. But yeah, so you probably practice in the mirror, practice with your son as far as dispatching to get the ums out, because you want to have some confidence when you're doing it, right? Hey, Ramsey's trucking, because now you're Andrea Ramsey, right?
Yes.
Hey, Ramsey Trucking, this is Charles with ABC Dispatching. Are you under a load or looking for a load?
I'm looking for a load.
Looking for a load. What equipment type do you drive? You never asked me that.
Okay.
Right? So what equipment type do you drive? And you know, drive. I'm personally looking for a dry van, flatbed, or reefer. If they say anything other than that, I will gradually get them off the call, because as a new dispatcher, I'm not trying to dispatch for those other specialized equipment types, because I know they're going to be a challenge for new dispatching. I'm not saying don't ever do it, but starting out, make your job easier. So I'll say, hey, what equipment type are you driving? And you'll tell me, you know, give me one of those three: dry van, flatbed, or reefer. I say, okay, you got a dry van. Okay, what do you normally get as a rate per mile? You know, what's your dollar value that you can take to move that truck? You'll say $2.50. All right, what do you like to run at? Like, you like Midwest, Southeast, Northeast, certain areas you don't want to go to, that you want to avoid? And how long do you want to stay out? So you're asking types of questions that they want to hear, because some of these carriers may be used to being what's called forced dispatched, right? Going places they don't want to go because they know it's going to take them a while to get out of. But as you're providing a solution to those types of problems. You want to keep them running in areas based off of your learning from the portal, certain areas to keep carriers into and out of based off of their equipment type. And you'll get that over time. The first thing you want to focus on is targeting the three major equipment types, because that makes your job easy, because these are the equipment types that you can find the loads for the easiest. They're out here the most, and they pay better rates. So so you start there. And you're extracting information, which is like an indirect carrier profile, if you will. Everything you're asking them, they're going to document it on the profile eventually when you send it to them.
Okay.
All right. So
go ahead. So me asking these questions, like what equipment type are you driving and what do you normally get when you say the total, like the $2.50, or what do you normally run? Where do you normally run at, which is east and north, and like what states you usually run on, right?
Correct.
So
you're asking them. So let me bring up a map here. So let's go into the portal and go down to the tools and resources and scroll down to the map. And let me open this map up, right? And do you see it on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna expand it. So when I'm asking them where they want to run and things like that, I'm telling them what parts of the country, knowing as a dispatcher, you're learning over time again. Over time, you'll learn certain areas of the country or certain zones. Zones are a certain state, has a certain number of states in them. So the Northeast zone have northeastern states like New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, so on and so forth. Midwest zone has a certain number of states: Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri. Those are the Midwest zone states. Southeast zone: Virginia, North and South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, stuff like that. So for whichever equipment type, you will understand, and certain zones can be great for all three. Like the Midwest zone, it doesn't matter if it's a dry van, flatbed, or reefer. They run great in that zone, in and out of anyway. That's the best zone across the three major equipment types to run carriers in, hands down.
Okay.
So these are the things that you'll be asking them. So
now, after I find out all of those things, and he wants me, the carrier,
okay,
wants me to find a load for him, and does, the amount of cents that he's telling me to do, that he wants, and plus the zone that he tells me, that's when I go to the load board and look.
Well, even before then, once he tells you all that stuff, then you have to send them, him or her, your dispatcher agreement and your profile for them to fill out and return to you. Right. And when they fill that out and return it to you, you also want to request copies of their onboarding paperwork, their documents. So forms and documents you want to request. So in addition to the dispatch agreement profile that you send to them, that you produced for your company based off of our templates, you want them to send you copies of, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Carriers onboarding documents for viewing purposes on. So you want them to send you copies of their operating authority or their MC authority, their certificate of insurance, a copy of that, a copy of their W-9.
Right.
If they have a factoring company, a copy of their notice of assignment, or like a credit app, so that you can send to the broker to run credit on the broker. That's assuming that the carrier has factoring. But the first three are important, because you need these three all the time when you're dealing with brokers, because brokers always use these forms to correctly onboard or get those carriers approved for their brokerage. Okay. So it makes sense as a dispatching company for you to have copies of these in your company's possession. So when you're booking loads per broker for specific carriers, you will have copies of what you need to send to the broker. It just makes your process a little bit more easier, streamlined.
Okay, I got it. It just seems to me that it takes a little time for that, especially with the drivers. And, that's what it looks like, because they're probably,
Well, so what happens is when you send it to them, if I was a driver, I'll say, yeah, I want you to be my dispatcher. Send me your information. When I get it, when I do my reset or when I'm not driving, I'll make sure to get this filled out and return to you. So drivers take 10-hour breaks daily, and then they take over time, over so many days, they take what's called a day and 10-hour break, a 34-hour reset. So they take 10-hour resets during every day, and then they take a 34-hour reset after so many days in that particular cycle, that time cycle, because they can only drive so many hours a week, and so many hours a day. So they do what's called 10-hour resets to set their cycles for the day. And then over the week time, they do a 34-hour reset, which is a day and 10 hours. 24 plus the 10 is 34. That's where the 34 reset hours come from, because they're setting their logs, their ELDs, their electronic logging devices, so that they can have drive time. Again, it recycles and starts the process over. So during their downtime, when they're not driving, is probably the best time that they can fill these things out and get it back to you.
Okay. All right, so I got that part now. So once I get it back, that's when
then you can go to the profile and look and see what they filled out on the profile. Okay, the carrier part one, the carrier information, that's just general stuff. Their equipment type, you know what it is. If they listed any brokers that they're already set up or approved with, you can kind of reference those brokers and see if they have any specific loads. That way, if they do, you don't have to go through the process of filling out the broker carrier agreement because they're already set up with brokers. So that cuts your workload in half, essentially. And then you'll see dispatch specifications. Where do they want to run, the cents per mile, how many pickups, things like where they want to go, mountains, tolls, what's their weight limit, areas of the country they want to go. And this is just a template in our members portal. You can tweak this and change it how you see fit for your specific company. This is just a guide to get you started.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So after that, then I go look at the load board.
Right. You go look at the load board according to what they say on the profile. So let's say they are, so let's go the load, and then where's the load board located in the members portal?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Where do you go in our members portal? Where do you find the load boards?
In module to book a load board, module 3. What is it? Load board access, sorry, 2.
2, there you go. I just wanted to test you, see where you were. So module 2, you would go here and the PDF. So you got 6 load boards. Each of the load boards, they're listed in that order. And then you have the PDF for the usernames and password for each of those load boards in the same order that they are listed. Okay. I'm going to go to 1, 2, 3 load boards. So let's say, for example, so where you're located?
I'm in New York.
Okay. Ouch. Sorry to hear that. No, I'm just kidding.
But we're eventually going to we're going to move to Texas.
Okay. So let me sign out of this one. Let's go to direct freight just to see what they have. Let's choose a different load board as a training tool here. Let's log in, and I should already have a login already. So yeah, it should be saved, in other words. So let's find loads. And you can look at load maps too in direct freight services to see the number of loads that are in each state across those equipment types. So that can kind of give you an idea of what to send your carriers into and out of. So like for example, Texas has over 10,000 loads in Texas across the 3 major equipment types. So you have a chance to get somebody into and out of Texas, right? So, and you're in New York, you got 2,900, close to 3,000 loads in. So you can get loads in New York going to Texas or going close to Texas, like going down to Georgia, then over to Texas. So, but let's go back to find loads.
Okay.
And what borough are you? Brooklyn?
Bronx.
BX up. So we go in the Bronx. And then we'll say go anywhere. We'll leave destination blank, which means going anywhere. We'll say the Bronx within let's say 100-mile radius. That's the standard radius. What's another word for radius?
I have no idea.
Deadhead.
Deadhead. Okay.
Yep.
Basically the miles that you'll be driving without.
Right. So deadhead miles is, let's say you got this load, you're looking for loads that's picking up in Bronx. Let's say you're in somewhere in Jersey, that would be within 100-mile radius of the Bronx. So you would drive your equipment type, whatever it is, empty trailer from where you are, however many number of miles within that radius to pick up at a shipper in the Bronx, New York. That's
deadhead. Okay.
That's deadhead, right? And if you have a power only unit, which is a tractor and no trailer, if you drive deadhead, you're doing what's called bobtailing. Okay. All right. So trailer type, let's say, just say a dry van. And let's say on your carrier's profile, they say, okay, I'm going to pick something up out the Bronx going anywhere, and hit search, right? So we got 1,993 loads, right? Just for a drive, and just general stuff, right? And I'm going to take the pay rate, click that link. It's going to push up in numerical order, the highest to the lowest paying loads that are posted. You see that?
Yes.
So now it shows 6,300, 219. This is a live load board. It just added another new load. If you click to refresh it, it'll just refresh it with the new load added. That's all it does. but your carrier wanted 250 a mile. So you can take the estimated cents per mile and click that, and it'll put it in order of cents per mile.
Yes.
So, and this is, so now we got $38.89 per mile, that's a different type of load. So
Yes, that's a lot.
yeah. So, but on the realistic side, let's go down. So you got to see what type of loads these are. 850 going 82 miles. So that's why it's $10 and something a mile. So it's a short run paying that rate. So it gives the appearance of high. It's not over the road type of stuff, right? So let's go down. Let's go to reality, right? Let's go.
Yes, that's like a lot.
So let's scroll down to like something decent, something like over. If you got a carrier that wants to be on the road for like so many miles, like these are decent ones though. Let's say Jersey, Rahway. They still got that prison over there in Jersey, Rahway.
I have no idea.
Okay. So this is picking up Rahway. So the trip miles and the deadhead miles. So Rahway. Trip miles, 223 miles from Rahway to Springfield, Virginia. It's 34 miles deadhead. Rahway, Jersey is 34 miles from the Bronx. And it's a full truckload, 44,000 pounds. You may have to get 1,500 out of that because that's close to max weight on a van. Because a van can hold 45,000. So the more you haul, the more you can ask for as far as rate or fuel surcharge to help cover the cost of fuel. And as a dispatcher, you want to keep that in mind. But it's paying $11.75 and it's $5.27 a mile. So it's not going far, 200 something miles paying 11. That's a decent run. And it's going to an area in Virginia where you can get something out of. So that's how you would navigate the load board in it. So I don't want to harp too long. I know you had some other questions.
So, okay, just say like I did Virginia and the person the carrier wants to come back. So I would look for something in Virginia to come back to the Bronx or.
Yeah, or elsewhere, just something out of Virginia. Because he said, just keep me running. And then I have to be back to the Northeast, take me from Virginia, take me over to the Midwest, or take me down to the Southeast, down into Georgia, or take me to the Southwest over in Texas. So yeah, so you can look at it like that.
Okay, I got it. I think, okay, so I'm just, my part is just the question, just talking to these carriers, which I am gonna do it, talking
Yeah, you have to practice. Now, you said something about a cargo van with you and your son. Have you got a subscription to the specialized equipment type of load board, like Selectus or My Virtual Fleet? Or
yes. I think he has Empire. I mean, Charlie, you didn't sign up yet for anything, right? Okay, so we're waiting for the insurance. So we did we're just waiting for the insurance.
You're waiting for the insurance to activate your operating authority?
My operating authority is gonna be, I'm still in the waiting period, so I haven't done it. Like next week is supposed to be active, but we still have to get the insurance so that when it does become active, we can actually get to certain load boards with the correct insurance coverages that they accept.
I don't know if you heard him.
I heard him, and it makes perfect sense. So he's gotten his, he's applied for his, I'm assuming he filled out the OP1 form on the FMCSA site. And,
yes.
And then he's having insurance. They're going to have to file either the BMC 91 or the 91X, and then the BMC 34. BMC 91 or 91X is liability, and then the 34 is the cargo insurance. So once they file that and FMCSA gets that, then they will issue a certificate or an operating authority. In addition to that, he has to get a BOC3, a process server, filed with FMCSA by that company.
Okay, I think he said Foley is taking care of all of that. We just now Foley, F-O, yeah,
So Foley is a factoring company, Foley?
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. So they must also offer to help people get their authorities as well as a service. So
yes.
Okay.
So we're just waiting for the insurance. We have to get insurance, and we're having like a difficult time
Now, it could be because of credit, the age of the young man, whether or not he has a CDL, as far as rates and stuff like that. So there's several factors that's involved in that. Who are you going through, like Progressive, Commercial, or somebody else?
We tried Progressive yesterday and it was just too expensive.
Right.
They wanted a
Okay.
one-time fee.
Right.
Yeah, so
you're right.
So the
So
dealership.
is the young man, is he 25 years or less?
No, he's 25, he's 27, he's 27.
Okay, so I'm not sure why. If you're 25 or less, you have a hard. If you're 25 or less without a CDL, your rates are going to be like through the roof, because they consider, and this is unfortunate, they consider younger individuals, whether they're male or female, at risk because of that. So, but the older you are, and the fact that you have a CDL, then they say that risk lessens, if you will. So, and it affects, and then your credit also too. So, personal credit, not business credit, because you're just establishing the business, so you don't have business credit, right? So they got to go off personal in order to do the rate for the insurance.
But I think he's gonna put me on the insurance, right? I don't know. Just
So
to lower it, because
yeah. If you can mitigate that by adding someone on the policy, but you have to make sure that it's okay with the insurance people when you do it that way.
Okay.
Well, you have to, because you're talking to them. So
Right.
but yeah.
That's the only thing we're waiting for now is this insurance. We had to go with the dealer. I think the dealer sent us to someone who can kind of recommend us to another company to help us because we're having a hard time.
Right. And another solution would have been, I'm not sure if you wanted to do that, but to run under someone else's authority while you get everything in place, solidified for yourself. But then you got to go through their vetting process and what kind of rates they're going to charge you, and if they're going to keep loads in your truck as opposed to you having to find your own load. So there's a lot of red tape with that too. So, but it's fine. So I don't want to monopolize your time with that. I mean, I know you had some other questions.
I don't think so. I just got to really work on the mock loads.
Yeah. Now, what about have you guys considered, I know it may be terrible starting off with them, but at least you'll have some source of income, Amazon.
You need the $1 million coverage with them.
My son said you need the $1 million coverage with them too.
Well, in addition to the $1 million, you also need a $2 million aggregate. So if you go to relay.amazon.com, you'll see their requirements. You need also 2 million aggregate, and they have a pay matrix that's kind of ridiculous. Their pricing matrix, performance matrix, delivering on time and things like that. If you don't deliver on time, you get the lesser end of the loads, things of that nature. They treat you like you're a 2-year-old. So, but the only good thing about it is consistent freight. Starting the first 2 weeks gonna suck. But then after that, it opens up. But meeting the requirements. So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't, if you will. So, but
right.
So that's just another option, just throwing some stuff out there. But with Selectus, or not Selectus, because they're kind of expensive as far as the load board, but My Virtual Fleet is probably the better way, because you got a cargo van or a Sprinter van. So your max weight is between 3,000 and 5,000 pounds in that thing. So many pallets, like so many 48 by 40 pallets, 2 or 3 pallets in there, and they got to come in on either on the side. You got a side sliding door, and the back door opens up on your
Yes.
Okay. So you can the forklift can come in and get a pallet on the side, and then put 2 in on the back, push one in and push the other one behind it. Okay.
So what about, because right now we're trying to figure out what to put at the bottom of the okay. I was just trying to figure out if we should put mats in there or plywood.
So you have right now, it's bare aluminum or bare metal right now that you got?
Yeah, it's bared.
That's a great question. I would not go with, if you're going to be putting a lot of pallets in there, I would not go with like the rubber mats, because you're just going to be crunching them and scraping them up all the time. right?
Okay.
I would say probably some treated wood, because you're putting in wooden pallets that's going to slide wood against wood. That's not going to be any damage. So you should be good with that. You know, and leaving it metal would be okay, but you want something flat and level, because sometimes the type of freight that you put in, the value of that freight, you may chance of damaging it. So if I was a betting man, I would say wood.
Okay then.
So
Okay. Well, I'll be to the class Wednesday.
okay,
Yeah, I'll be there Wednesday.
yeah,
So
that'll work.
Okay, one more. Let me see if one more question, because I had printed out everything that I for the dispatching. So okay, could you tell me about the factoring? I know yours is the factoring company. I get mixed up with the shipper and the factoring company.
So the shipper is the person that the broker gets their loads from. And then they put them on the brokers put them on the load board for carriers to call and negotiate and buy the loads. The factory company are like banks, if you will. They finance the brokers and they finance the carriers, because brokers have factory companies. Most brokered loads are factored loads because they can't wait 30, 45, 60 days for the shipper to pay them, because they have to pay the carriers. So brokers get factory companies, and then carriers get factory companies because they can't wait, probably because if a broker doesn't offer quick pay, who doesn't have a factory company, they can't wait 15, 30, 45 days to get paid by the broker. So they have factory companies. So with that being said, I'm in the wrong line of work. I should be a factory company. But yeah, so the factory companies, they buy the invoices, they buy the PODs from the carriers or from the shippers. I'm sorry, from the brokers. So, and then they advance a certain percentage, let's say 85 to 90% of what the gross rate was. And then they put the rest of that in reserve until the other party pays them, either the shipper directly or a broker in the case of the carrier. And then they release that and give the rest to whoever it's due minus their percentage, factoring. That's how factoring works. It's like basically they're pretty much gangsters, if you will. So, but
yeah, it's just so full.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's how it works. They front the money and then they pay you up front for that service of fronting the money. They charge a percentage for that, anywhere between 1.5% to about 3 to 4%. And recourse, non-recourse factoring, things like that. So invoice factoring, transportation invoice factoring.
So the notice of assignment, I know that it has where you.
So the notice of assignment. So here's how it literally works. So if you are a carrier and you got a factory company, you're going to send a credit app over to the broker to run, so that the factory company, that credit app is from the factory company sent to the broker to run credit check on the broker to make sure that they pay on time, that there's no claims, there's nothing wrong with the broker, because the factory company wants to make sure that they want some guarantees that they're going to get paid if they front this carrier the money from the broker, right? So they do a credit check with that credit app to the broker on behalf of the carrier to make sure that they are quote unquote factorable. And then if they are, then they will send that notice of assignment saying, hey, the money that you're going to pay the carrier, pay us, and we'll deal with the carrier, and we're going to get the rest of the money from you. We're going to front the carrier 85, 90% advance of that gross rate, let's say $3,000. 90% of that, we'll give them $2,700, and then we'll put $300 in reserve until you, broker, pay us, and then we'll release the other $300 minus our percentage. That's how it literally works. And what the form that does that is called a notice of assignment. It assigns payment from the broker to the carrier, now to the broker and the factoring company. So the factoring company steps in on behalf of the carrier and handles all the financials.
Okay. Wow. Okay, I got it, because it was so much with the class.
Right. But as a dispatcher, you don't really need to know the specifics, that technical stuff of it. You just need to know if your carrier that you get under a dispatcher agreement has a factoring company, then you will want to send over the necessary documents that the factoring companies require to run on the broker, because most carriers, factoring companies, want to make sure that the brokers are factorable before they even decide to work with them. Let's say you had a carrier who had a factoring company, and their factoring company ran the credit check on the broker and said, hey, they're not factorable. We're not going to factor this load. Well, the carrier they still have an option. The carrier just won't use their factoring company. They can just use the payment options that the broker has to offer, as opposed to using their factory, because somebody got to pay the carrier.
Right.
Either through the factory company, or sometimes brokers offer payment options, quick pay, ACH transfer, or a paper check. So brokers offer payment options. So money is due to the carrier, whether they're going to get it through the factoring company or through the broker, they're going to get paid because there is a contract in place, a broker carrier agreement that requires them to get paid. So.
Okay. Okay. And then that's when I do my agreement with the dispatcher carrier, and after he gets paid, if I, when I book a load for him, and whatever the percentage is that we agree upon, he would pay me from whatever he got over the load, not the percentage,
Right. So
percentage over the load.
Right. So so whatever you charge as a percentage, like between 5 and 10%, and you, when your carrier delivers and gets paid, you invoice your carrier the percentage of the gross amount. Let's say you charge 10% and you booked a $3,000 load, then you're going to get $300. You're due $300. It's not the net amount after expenses is paid, it's the gross amount, what they were paid off overall.
Right.
So.
Okay. And that's when it comes with me talking to, like, if it's like you said, it was 3,000. Well, I don't know if you said that, but if it was 3,000, and that would mean I would have to talk to the broker to go up on this. So that
right. So if you see a $3,000 load, you would want to negotiate your percentage on top of that. So you would say, okay, $3,000 times 10% is $300. So you want to add $300 to the 300, and then when you negotiate a rate or a price with the broker, you're going to say, hey, we can do it for 33, 34, maybe 35, because you want to include your rate on top of it, as opposed to taking it from the carrier side. You want to add it on the broker side when you're negotiating.
Does it really work?
It works, I would say about 70% of the time. Sometimes brokers are firm on their rates. So in that case, you would have to let the carrier know, hey, this broker's not budging on this 3,000. Do you still want this load? Carrier says yes. Okay, I still have to get paid as a dispatcher. So my 10% or whatever that percentage is going to be deducted now in this case from the 3,000, as opposed to added on top of. Do you still want this rate? Yes, I want this load. I'm trying to get home. Okay, well then now they realize they're going to get 3,000 minus 300, which is 2,700 now, as opposed to the whole 3,000. So, but as long as you are communicating back and forth with your carrier, and both parties everybody understands what's going on, then you're good. It's not until you leave them in the dark and they get surprised by a $2,700 paycheck as opposed to a 3,000, what they were expecting.
Right. So one more question. Well, this is kind of asking you, when you've done the dispatching, did you find your carriers being very kind of rude or?
Yeah, because that's their demeanor. A lot of carriers. I had rednecks, I had green necks, I had white necks, black necks. So that's just a carrier's disposition. You have to have thick skin in that regard. As long as you do what you need to do, find them loads, keep them running, you're fine, right? If you allow emotion to get you caught up, you're going to sink, right? You're going to get caught up, you're going to get swirled up in that whirlwind, and you're going to get frustrated and like, I don't want to work with this carrier and things like that. Over time, if you're working with that same carrier and they realizing you, like, I didn't have that type of attitude when I was running, but when a carrier sees that you're finding them what they want, then the language changes and the demeanor changes, right? And the respect comes in, right? So it's not like they don't respect you starting out. They just don't know you. They just met you. You guys are forming a relationship. Just like you meet new people, you don't know them. You have to form the relationship and over time get to know the person, right? It's like when you're dating, right? I'm not going to marry you on the first date, right? So, but that's basically, it's the same thing. It's just basically people, right? We're just learning and understanding people, disposition. You know, that's where the origin of racism come in at. You don't know one race to another race, and they've been told things about this race without investigating themselves. So now when they see people, they prejudge. That's where the word prejudice comes from. You're prejudging people without having all your facts. So it's the same concept.
Okay. Do you find that also because, okay, I went to Beacon, New York to get the car van, and on the way back, I saw a lot of the truck stops. Do you think that's kind of smart to kind of, you know, talk to them during that time, or?
Yeah, just catch them. I mean, don't walk up to a truck and knock on it because they could be asleep. But if they're outside messing around with their trucks, doing a pre-trip inspection or getting fuel, or maybe inside the facility, it may have a restaurant attached to the truck stop, fuel pump station or whatever. You know, walk in there, get something to snack on, eat or whatever, sit down or start a conversation with them. You know, got to use some kind of like tact, if you will, you know, so.
Okay.
You got this. You got it. You from New York. You got this. From New York.
I understand, but you know, I'm not, you know, anyway, I'll try. I mean, I'm going to go forward, you know, but I just have to have that confidence. I guess it's my first time. I'm coming from DOE, Department of Education, and, you know, I'm not taking that back. So, yeah. Right.
Oh, so you have a department, you have an education background. So that's even better, you know, customer service, communication. So, yeah, that should help you.
Hopefully. Yeah. I'm trying. Okay, so I'll be there to the when
just look at the carriers as kindergartners, because that's literally what you're going to get. So
oh, good. That's kind of true.
The mentality in some cases. I know this is recording, so sorry, but sometimes you're going to get that with, you know, the mentality until they open up. You know, they're going to be crying, wanting to take their ball off the yard, get out of the sandbox, all this other nonsense. Until you find them, till you provide a service that they want, sending them to where they want, paying them what they want, you know, things like that. Basically giving them what they want, spoiling them, if you will. You're spoiling the carriers, giving them something that they're not used to having.
Right.
So.
Okay, I got it.
All right.
Got my work cut out for me.
Yeah. You got it cut out. Just use a different pair of scissors. You'll be okay.
Right. Well, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I'll be there to Wednesday, 6 o'clock class.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck with the Sprinter van.
Okay, the insurance, finding the insurance.
Yeah, and getting the authority active. And then once you get it active, you know, start finding loads and stuff like that. Good luck with all of that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
So I'm gonna go.
All right, guys, this is Charles with the Exodus Logistics Learning Center, Dispatcher 101 training for beginners. We just had a consultation, a Zoom consultation with one of our students, Ms. Ramsey. Went over some cold calling and things of that nature. If you or someone you know is interested in learning how to dispatch, understanding the concepts, the workflow of dispatching, reach out to us, 757-515-1684. Thank you.